What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today is Sunday, November 5th, day number 96 inside the Big Brother house. We're in that final stretch. There are just 4 days left inside the Big Brother house until we find out the winner of season 25. Before we get into what happened yesterday on the live feeds as far as like game stuff, because there's only really one game thing that is happening, and we're going to find out the answer to that on tonight's live eviction, where Jag will have to choose between Matt or Felicia. But before we get into that, let's talk about just a little bit of like what's just going on inside the house on more of like the social personal level. I know there's been a lot of you who have been concerned about the behavior of the mafia with Bowie, Jag, and Matt, and I'm with you, right? Like, I don't think it was necessary. I think it was way over the top. They didn't need to go that far with a lot of the like psychological warfare type stuff they were trying to do with Operation Pressure Cooker, and it wasn't going to work anyway. Like, there wasn't a need for it, and there wasn't going to be a good outcome from it, right? Like, it wasn't going to be something that was useful to their game at all. But yesterday was very much more chill. They were hanging out a lot more together as opposed to like the 3-and-1 group that kind of had been happening a lot. They ended up playing hide and seek, and Felicia like hid underneath the bathroom sink, like literally got in the cabinet. It was fantastic. But yeah, overall, it was a much more chill day that didn't have a lot of like the nastiness and stuff like that going on. Felicia did pitch again to Jag, though, basically just saying like, hey, jury could be pretty bitter, right? Like they might be upset at you. I think Matt beats everybody though, right? Like, he beats you, he beats me, he beats Bowie. I think you beat me. You and Bowie though, I'm not sure. But everybody beats me, you should take me. Which is a good pitch. It's a good pitch. I don't know how right she is, and I have a little bit of an aid that we can use to look over jury scenarios here in just a bit. But it's a decent pitch, and it's something that Jag has to consider. And I'll tell you what, he's struggling with this decision. This is a hard decision for Jag. He is very, very conflicted. He started talking it out with Bowie a little bit yesterday. And one of the things that's tough, I mentioned on yesterday's update that we can't 100% trust what he's saying to Bowie. Like, yes, he might be actually like talking it out, trying to figure it out himself, but he also might be just kind of playing her up, buttering her up a little bit, thinking that he's going to do it so that she's not worried when he doesn't do it, right? Like, justifying not sending him out so that when he doesn't do it, she still will want to do it for the final 2, but it's good for him if Matt stays, kind of a thing, if that makes sense. So even though he's saying this stuff to her, I'm not 100% sure it's what he really believes, but he is showing this confliction. At the very least, he is struggling with, do I do it or do I not? How much is he struggling with it? I'm not 100% sure, but it's at the very least, like, there are moments where he's alone that you can tell, yeah, this is not an easy decision for him. Some of the things he said to her is, you know, with Bowie too, she's given like kind of like the open, clear signs, right? Like, go for it, do it. Like, she, even to the point where she's almost pushing the idea that, hey, maybe you should do it, right? Because when Jag brings it up, he's like, listen, my brain says cut him, right? Like, are we going to just hand him the win if we keep him around? But he's like, my heart says keep him, right? Like, be loyal. And his gut says something else. His gut says never win a veto again and self-evict. Like, he's like, I figured it out, I'm just gonna self-evict. He's not actually going to self-evict, but he's struggling, right? He doesn't know if he should be loyal to Matt, if you should cut him because it's the smart game move, or what. He also talked about the luxury comp with the pumpkins, and I thought this was a really good analogy that he kind of made. He's like, the luxury comp was kind of metaphorically encompassing the whole game, right? He's like, Jag this whole game has been putting treats into Matt's pumpkin, and Matt's just been taking treats out of Jag's pumpkin. I think he's a little bit off on there, but like, for example, one of the things he said was, he's like, I've been so loyal to Matt. I've been trusting Matt. I've been keeping him safe. But then there's times where like I'll tell Matt, hey, make sure you don't tell Cirie that Felicia's throwing her under the bus. And what does he do? He goes and tells Cirie anyway. And that did make things a little bit harder and more awkward for Jag. It didn't change the outcomes necessarily, but it's potential that like he's like, hey, I asked him not to do it. He didn't anyway because it was good for him. So there is some real consideration on whether or not he should cut Matt, or if he should keep Matt. Because the other thing he's thinking about is he's like, I don't want to be seen as disloyal. Like, it means a lot to me that like I can have my kids watch this, my grandkids eventually watch this show, and I don't want them to learn how to be disloyal, right? Like, I want them to see me as like this loyal person. But he says, then I start thinking, am I being more loyal to Matt than my own family? And he's like, when I put it that way, then I start thinking, well, I have to do what I have to do. And he even like, it was weird because it almost sounds like anybody who watched the Star Wars new sequel trilogy. It's terrible. Don't bother watching if you didn't. There's a scene in there with Kylo Ren where he's like, I know what I gotta do, but I don't know if I got the strength to do it, Pops. And like it's almost the same thing going on here right now, where he's like, I know what I gotta do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it. Like I think like Jag is really struggling with this on a personal level on whether or not he should actually take this shot or not. And he's like, if I don't take the shot, or this was the other thing, he's like, if I do take the shot and somehow Felicia ends up in the final two, he's like, I can't take that. I can't take that. He's like, that can't be what happens. So he's really, really struggling with this decision. And I honestly don't know what he's going to do. I think he's leaning towards keeping Matt. I really am. He even said this to Bowie. He's like, I think I'm leaning towards keeping Matt. But it's 50-50, I think. With Jag, he's overthinking everything. At one point, he was like, I wish I could like phone a friend, call my parents. Bowie's like, what did your dad say? He's like, don't overthink things, but I'm totally overthinking this. So it's been fun kind of watching this dilemma play out. And it's probably one of the toughest decisions that a house guest has had in a very long time. I'm trying to think of like other really tough decisions on whether or not you should cut your friend in the game have taken place. Obviously, there's Derek and Cody. That's probably the most famous one as far as like ride or dies, you know, the ride or die, making the decision to go with his friend, with the person they were most loyal to in the game, and then losing. Honestly, another example that I think gets kind of like pushed to the side, but is something that I think should be considered, is Dan and Danny, or Danielle, what was her name on BB14, the one he had like literally strung along. He used, and I don't want to say abused, but like he really used her, especially emotionally in that game. And there were times where he was like, oh yeah, no, like I'm totally like not taking you. Like we're not like this guy Shane, like he's got to go. Like I know you like him, but he's got to go, man. So there were times where he was being disloyal to her and more loyal to himself. I'm trying to think of like, but even then, like that wasn't really a tough decision for Dan, right? Like that was an easy decision. I think for Cody, it was maybe a tough decision. I think he actually had to think about it for a while, but in the end, I think it was an easier decision, and he didn't struggle with this one as much as Jag is struggling with this decision right now. Other like tough things like Tiffany and BB23, like sticking with the cookout or doing what was best for her game. That had to be a very difficult decision, but she ended up sticking with the cookout in the end. But yeah, this is, I think, one of the harder, most deliberated decisions that someone is personally making in the game, whether or not they stick with their loyalty, they stick with their heart, or they go with their brain and make what probably is the better move. But let's talk about that. I do have a little bit of a visual aid I want to use here. This is kind of the jury chart. We were using something similar to this on the stream the other day, just to kind of talk it out, but I figured I could put these together because there's only a few scenarios that could possibly take place. So let's take a look. Here we go. So there's several different scenarios that we have that could play out. I think what the most likely scenario is, only because both of them have decided to take each other if they ended up in the final three, is Jag and Bowie. I think that is the most likely right now, unless Matt stays. I think this is the most likely final two scenario. And in that one, I think Jag wins it outright. Felicia talked about how she's not sure how she would call it. I think Cameron, Cory, America, Cirie, Felicia, and Matt, they're the ones that it's like, well, maybe Matt would be a little bit bitter and would give Bowie a vote if Jag were the one to cut him. Blue, I could see maybe struggling with giving the vote, but I think overall everyone would go, yeah, we don't respect Bowie's game at all. Because that's the other thing. When it really comes down to it, I think Bowie has an argument on why she should win the game. She's won 3 HOHs and was able to make moves that took people out of the game. Whether we think they were good for her game or not, it's potential that she got herself to the final two by making those moves. And if she didn't make those moves and she had taken shots at Matt and Jag, maybe she wouldn't be the one sitting in the final two. Maybe it would be Cirie. Maybe it would be Cory. Maybe it would be America. There's plenty of different ways this all could have gone if she made different decisions when she had power. Cameron could be the one sitting in the final two if it wasn't for Bowie. So I think she has an argument on why she should be considered. I don't think the jury cares. Because at the end of the day, as much as you do in the game, if the jury doesn't respect it, right? If the jury doesn't see it as like, oh yeah, you were doing stuff, and the jury doesn't think that, you know, your game was important, it's not going to matter at the end of the day, and they're not going to give you your vote. On top of that, I also don't think many people like Bowie. I just, not that they like hate her, but like if you had to say like, oh, who do you think is someone you're going to hang out with after the season? It's kind of a thing they used to say about the president, like, oh, people vote for who they would rather get a beer with. It's kind of similar, right? Like people at the end of the day, when you're in the jury, you're deciding on who you want to win the game. It's probably going to be the person you would rather sit and have a beer with. Like that is usually who people are going to vote for more than the other. Now, maybe someone played an incredibly crazy better game than the other person, and you like that other person more, yeah, you might vote for that person, right? Like if everybody loved Bowie, but Jag just played this incredible game where he was never evicted and all that kind of stuff, right? Jag wins. But also, Jag wins anyway because nobody likes Bowie, if that kind of makes sense. So that's the first scenario, and I think Jag wins that handily. There may be a few votes that go here and there, but I think he would have Cameron locked in. I think he would have probably Cirie and Felicia locked in. I think they would end up going for Jag over Bowie. Because as much as like they're like, oh, Jag, like Cirie called him a snake in her post interview. But I think she would respect it more than Bowie as the winner, right? Like at the end of the day, I think she likes Jag a little bit more as a person than she does Bowie. They really hated Bowie. I hate to say they hated her. I don't think they hate her, but they found her very annoying. Matt's another one where it's like, maybe he feels burned, but I think overall Jag would probably get a unanimous win. Could be a little bit off on that. It could end up being more like I don't know, like a 5-2 or something like that. But I would think Jag would get the win in that one. The next scenario, which I also think is by far the easiest scenario to really call out, it's kind of 2-1. You could see there if Jag makes the final two with Bowie, or if Matt makes the final two with Jag or Bowie, either one, doesn't matter, either one. I think Matt wins hands down. I think you can even see there I have both Bowie and Jag in the jury pool. Doesn't matter which one gets evicted. I think they vote for Matt to win, and I think he wins unanimously. So in either of those 3 scenarios, right, whether it's Jag and Bowie, Matt and Jag, Matt and Bowie. I think Matt is going to be the one to win that, and I think Jag would be the one to win the Bowie scenario. Now, we do have two other scenarios, which I think are a little bit more cloudy and actually more fun as final two situations. Jag and Felicia, and then there's also the most fun, like the ultimate final two that we could get this season, Felicia and Bowie. And how do these votes work out? You can see, I'm not too sure. So I think Cameron will vote for Jag or Bowie no matter what, if Felicia ends up in the final two. Him and Felicia, they never really got along. They were really kind of the same type of people, both with military backgrounds, and I think just ended up being like so similar they clashed, right? And I just don't think he would ever vote for Felicia over Bowie or Jag, even though he was burned by both of them in the game. I think Cameron would end up voting for them. As for whoever would be evicted of the other people, right, whether it's Bowie or Matt, I think Bowie or Matt would end up voting for Jag and Bowie respectively, right? Like I think Bowie would end up voting for Jag if he made the final two. I think Matt would end up voting for Bowie if she made the final two over Felicia. But this is where things get a little bit more interesting. Cirie, I think, votes for Felicia over either one of them. American Cory, while they might go with Jag, I could see them very easily voting for Jag. I don't know if they would vote for Bowie. And even in a scenario with Jag versus Felicia, I could see them going Felicia, especially Cory, because he would think it's funny. And America did kind of say, Felicia, she's been doing things, right? So that could end up being where you've got a 3-2 split, and it comes down to 2 votes. You've got Blue, who either way is a wild card in this these two scenarios. I do not know where Blue would vote. In a Jag versus Felicia one, she is very bitter towards Jag, but at the same time, she also sees the game that he won. Personally, I think she would eventually vote for Jag over Felicia. I do. But I'm not sure. I really am not, because she also could listen to Cirie. Cirie might talk her into it, because I think Cirie's going to have a lot of sway over what happens in the jury. Matt, he might end up being very bitter at Jag if he cuts them either here or at final two. Well, it wouldn't be at final two. It would be here. So if Jag cuts Matt at final 4, is he bitter enough at Jag not to vote for him in a situation where it's Jag versus Felicia? I don't know. I don't see Matt being bitter really, but if he gets Cirie in his ear, he'll listen to Cirie, and I think that could be enough for Felicia. So I honestly think there's a chance Felicia might beat Jag. Like, I really do. It's a slim chance, right? It's very slim, and I think more often than not, I think Jag will win that, but I'm not 100% sure. And same thing with Bowie and Felicia. I think it's a similar thing plays out where Bowie probably has to cut Jag in the final two. Would Jag be bitter? Matt wouldn't be bitter at Bowie because she's not the one actually cutting him at final 4. So he would probably vote for Bowie, being like, yeah, you know what? She was loyal to me. I like Bowie more than Felicia. I think she played a good game, right? I'll vote for Bowie. So you get Cameron and Matt. Jag, I don't know. Is he bitter or not? And then Blue doesn't really have a connection to either one of them. And I think she would listen to Cirie. I think that's 4. But again, Cory in America, I could see them being like, all right, yeah, it's funny if Felicia wins, but Bowie deserves it for getting it. There is a higher than 0 chance that Felicia could be the winner of BB25, whether or not she goes against Jag or Bowie. But there's 100% chance that Matt's going to beat either one of them in the final two. So you can also see why this is a little bit conflicting for Jag. Even if he doesn't see those scenarios, his heart is saying being loyal to Matt, but his head's saying, yeah, I know Matt's going to beat me, but also like, I might lose anyway. If Felicia ends up in the final two, like I couldn't have Felicia win, right? So it ends up being very conflicting for Jag, and I don't know what he's going to do. And I'm interested to hear what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. Let me know, what do you think Jag should do? What do you think he will do? Which of these final two scenarios do you want to see happen? Do you see it differently than me? Because again, I'm not 100% sure on all of them, and there's always a few house guests and jurors that end up voting differently than I expected them to on finale night. But overall, this is kind of where I'm seeing it. We'll probably find out more, hopefully on Tuesday. Maybe we'll get another jury update where we'll see a little bit more info on how things are going. We'll see, hopefully, Felicia show up, and maybe whoever shows up from, or no, because the final four person doesn't show up until the jury deliberation, and the jury deliberation will take place on Thursday's episode. So we won't see whoever gets evicted tonight on Tuesday's episode showing up at the jury house. That won't be until Thursday. Hopefully, though, we might see either Cirie showing up tonight, or we might see on Tuesday Cirie showing up to the jury house. But I don't know how they'll fit that in, because Tuesday's episode, we can actually kind of switch off this and go over what the kind of schedule is looking like for the rest of the week as far as the episodes, and then also what's going to be happening in the house, because I know some people are a little confused on how things are working. Tonight's episode will be live. As far as I know, I've actually seen that the ticket for the audience was about the same time as like what the show would be. So it doesn't seem like it's on a tape delay or anything like that. That will be tonight, where we'll see Jag make the decision. Matt or Felicia, one of them should be evicted. Then tonight on the feeds, we might have part one start for the final HOH. There were times in the past where we did get to watch some of that take place on the feeds. I don't think we've gotten to watch it take place in a very long time, because it depends on what the competition is. Like sometimes it's very much just endurance, where they're swinging back on those balls, hitting the wall and getting swung back and forth, slammed into a thing, sometimes dipped into water and stuff like that. There have been times where we got to watch that play out. Other times we didn't get a chance to watch that play out. Fingers crossed. But I haven't heard anything either way. Now we also have to have the final three memory like thing take place, where they have like the dinner. So that'll be all feeds as well at some point, either tonight, tomorrow, because they have to get all of that edited for Tuesday's episode. So it kind of leans me to think that it's going to take place tonight. Again, with part one of the HOH, though, that could take place tonight or Monday, because they really only need to get like the first part of that edited for Tuesday's episode. Like they don't need to get the whole thing. You just see the beginning of it start. So they could push that to Monday, but then that's pushing part two to Tuesday, only giving them about a day to really edit everything together for Thursday's finale. So there's a lot of different ways this could play out, but overall, I think we'll either get part one of the final HOH starting tonight or tomorrow, and we should know the answer to who won part one either tonight or tomorrow. Part two will either take place tomorrow or on Tuesday, and we should find out who wins part two by Tuesday night, maybe Wednesday morning, depending on how late that is. So by Wednesday, we should know who won part one and part two of the HOH. And then part three takes place on finale night live. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. Tuesday, again, we'll see on the episode the final three kind of memory lane dinner, where they look back at clips from the season. and then we'll see part 1 start, but I don't know if we'll get to see that in the feeds or not. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, because it years ago, we did used to get to watch them. But I don't remember the last time we've gotten to watch a Final 3 HOH play out on feeds. So let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below as far as what you think Jag's going to do, what do you think he should do, which Final 2 scenario you want to see play out most. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. I really do appreciate each and every one of you for all the support you showed me on the channel this entire season. It's been an amazing ride. There's links in the description down below. Pin comment for more ways you can support me. There's also my socials, like my Twitter, the Discord. Join the Discord. It's been a lot of fun hanging out over there, chatting with all of you guys about not just Big Brother stuff, but other stuff. And things are going to keep on rolling even after Big Brother is over. I know a lot of you are here just for Big Brother, but we're going to be doing a lot of other things, not just other reality shows. We're going to be doing streams and stuff like that here on the channel. I think I really like doing those morning live streams, so I think we're going to do some more of those. We also are going to do more on Twitch and Kick as far as like gaming streams, so make sure you follow that kind of stuff as well. But thank you guys all again so much. I really, really do appreciate you. I know I say it a lot, but it is just still mind-blowing that even just one person watches these videos. Thank you guys again, and I will see you next time.